Welcome to the Dating After Divorce podcast. I'm your host, Shade Curry, and I believe every divorced woman deserves a romantic relationship where she feels safe, loved, and cherished. You can create the most amazing life after divorce, and I will teach you how. Hello, ladies. Welcome to episode 20. And today I want to talk about how to create the feeling of in love. And you're probably thinking, well, no, I can't have that feeling right now. That's the feeling that comes when I have my person. When he's here, then I will feel in love. Well, I want to tweak that understanding just a little bit for you. And I want to start by talking about what actually creates our feelings. So I want to do a little experiment with you. I want you to take a moment and think about someone that you really, really like your best friend, or if you are close to a family member, someone that when you think about them, you have a lot of positive feelings. You would love to see them at any time. You would love to see them today or go to lunch today. Take a moment and bring that person into your mind right now. All right. Now, as you thought about that person, how did you feel? Right? Did you feel warm and fuzzy? Did you feel like, oh, I miss them? Did you feel happy? Did you feel excited? Did you feel like, oh, I'm going to see them this evening? You felt something as you thought about that person. Okay, now let's flip that. Think about someone you really dislike, like really, really do not like. It could be anybody, anyone in the world that you don't like. Bring them to mind. Now, as you thought about this other person, you probably started to feel your feelings changing. You weren't feeling the same warm and fuzzy feelings with quite the same intensity as you thought about the first person that came to mind. And I brought this activity up to demonstrate to you that what creates your feelings are your thoughts. What creates your feelings is the way you think about the subject at hand. Now, of course, you can have multiple feelings going on within you at the same time. You can feel excited for something, but also feel anxious about it at the same time. You can feel sad about something, but also be feeling kind of like happy that whatever it is happened. Like at the end of a vacation, you're sad that the vacation is over, but you also can feel refreshed at the same time. So you can have multiple feelings going on at the same time. But what I did want to address with you is that your thoughts about something create that feeling. When you brought these two people to mind, they were probably not in the room with you at that moment, or they weren't participating in this activity with you. All of the feelings you had in that moment came from the thoughts you were having about them, the accumulation of how you evaluated or interpreted your experience of that person, maybe over years, or even might even just be one experience. How you think about that person creates how you feel about that person. Now, this doesn't mean that that person hasn't done or not done certain things, right? Obviously, those two people have done different things that you have seen and experienced and now have thoughts about. And because of those thoughts, you have feelings. So this is not to say that, oh my goodness, everything in the world is your fault and everything in the world is just, just the way you think about it. It just shows you that you do have some control around the feeling that is present in your body in this moment by what you choose to think about in this moment. And there's no need to judge your thoughts that you have about either person or either situation, because you get to choose how you want to think about something. So I did that to demonstrate that your thoughts create your feelings, because I want you to know that you have the power over feeling in love even in this moment. Now, maybe you haven't met your person, you haven't met the person you want to commit to for the rest of your life, but you don't have to wait until that person actually arrives in your life in order for you to enjoy the feeling of being in love. This is good news, because your journey can be so much lighter, it can be so much more fun if you learn to practice positive feelings, if you learn to practice feeling connected, feeling in love, feeling joy, feeling that feeling of aliveness that we all have when we are in the presence of someone that we love. And this right here is one of the reasons we want someone in our lives. We want a relationship so that we can feel that feeling of being in love, right? It's one of the reasons we chase it. It's one of the reasons we really want someone right here so we can feel in love. But if you are waiting until that person arrives to enjoy this feeling, in some ways, you might be putting life off. You might be putting things that are available and the joy that's available to you off into the future until someone comes. And in many ways, you can also use that thinking to put the burden of feeling happy or feeling in love on that person all the time. So, this is a very useful skill, like controlling your emotions so that you can have the experience that you have, whether a person is present or not. So, that's reason number one you want to learn how to do this is that you get to control your experience. Reason number two for wanting to create the feeling of in love for yourself is that it actually makes it easier for you to find love. And I know it sounds like, wait, what? If I find the person, then I'll feel in love. Well, yes. However, if you feel in love before you find the person, it makes it easier for you to find the person, attract the person, connect with the person, and commit to the person. And the reason for this is that your feelings show up in the way you do things. Like if you're feeling sad or feeling down, feeling desperate, if you're feeling lonely, the way you would walk through the mall, if you were at the mall, would be very different from the way you would walk through the mall if you were feeling joy, if you were feeling alive, if you were feeling passionate about your life, if you were feeling in love with your life right now. And those two ways of showing up can mean the difference between someone taking a second look at you or someone flashing you a smile and you just blending in with the crowd at a party. And so, this is why it's so important to think about the way you're showing up. And how you show up is determined by what you are feeling in the moment. Feeling in love makes you more attractive. You glow, like you have this presence that just kind of overflows to all the people around you if you are able to create this feeling. So, how exactly do you create the feeling of in love? Now, I do this in a really simple way. The first step is you have to believe that you have control over that, right? It might take a minute to shift your energy. It might take a minute to really focus your thoughts on where you want them to go. This is a skill that you may need to learn and practice. But the way I do it is I think about things that make me feel good, right? Things that I am enjoying in my life that are sort of related to that pinnacle emotion of in love. For instance, I might think of that moment where I'm one third of the way through my cup of coffee and the caffeine kicks in early in the morning and I just really feel good in my body, right? So that is not quite the same feeling as being in love, but it's on the spectrum, right? It's that pleasure, it's that joy, that anticipation, that like, oh my goodness, it's going to be such an amazing day. I have an amazing cup of coffee. I'm having all of these thoughts about the coffee that I'm drinking, right? And when I have all those thoughts about the coffee that I'm drinking, it creates the feeling of, oh yeah, I love this. I love this moment. I'm really enjoying this moment. And because I have had coffee for a really long time. I've probably been a coffee drinker 15 plus years now. And when I drink coffee, every time I've practiced those thoughts about it, it's really easy for me to bring that feeling back up when I think about a cup of coffee. So I'm not drinking coffee at this moment, but I'm thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, that would feel really good if I had a cup of coffee right now. But I won't because this is late at night. So I'm not going to do that. Another one that really gives me that feeling of in love is I think about sunsets. I love watching the sunset. I love being on the beach and watching a sunset. That starts to give me this really amazing feeling. I'm not anywhere near a beach right now, but even as I think about it, and I think about all the times that I've been on a beach, and I think about the vacation that I have planned later this year on the beach, I'm like, oh, that's going to be so amazing. And as I bring up those thoughts and that feeling sort of starts to creep up, I lean into it. Right. So as the little feeling of pleasure and love comes up, I just kind of sink into it. I pause. This skill requires that you slow down and lean into the feeling that you're trying to create. You really take all the thoughts that you're trying out. You'll try out different thoughts or different memories or different activities. And then as you start to have some success in creating that feeling, you want to kind of lean into it. Just kind of say, oh, this feels good. I'm just going to sink into it for a moment, right? So what brings up the feeling of in love for you? What makes you feel like you think you would feel when you meet the one? Is it chocolate? Is it a good book? Is it summer? You could also just do this with thoughts. You don't have to think about a thing. You can just think thoughts that create that feeling of anticipation and passion for you. So, a few thoughts that I'd like to offer that you can try out could be I am in the middle of my love story. It's going to be such an amazing love story. I love my love story. Another one could be there's someone amazing out there for me. He's going to be this way, this way, this way, whatever it is that you have on your list. Um, Maybe today's the day that I meet my guy. Wouldn't it be amazing if I met him today? And really just giving yourself just a little thought that creates a positive feeling and sinking into it so that you can enjoy the feeling. And if you don't want to attach it to meeting someone, because sometimes that can uh, kind of be going a little too far out externally, you could simply just say, I love my life. Like you can love your life so much that you feel in love with your life. You can love yourself. Like, oh my goodness, I'm so amazing. I just really enjoy the life that I have. I enjoy what I'm doing. I enjoy the work that I'm doing. I'm enjoying this moment, right? And if you have difficulty bringing up things that make you feel in love, then start smaller. So maybe in love could be a 10, right? But love itself maybe could be at a 3 or a 4. You can say, what, where is there love in my life, right? So start there. Look for evidence that you have love in your life right now. Is it with your kids or is it with a friend? Is it with another family member? And sink into that feeling of love that is present in your life versus what causes the negative spiral, the downward spiral, the loneliness and the desperation, which is thinking about how you don't have love in your life, thinking about how you don't know when love is going to come or if it's ever going to happen, and all of the negative thinking that our brains tend to do. I've talked about this earlier on the podcast. The brain really wants to sink into what's not working. It really wants to sink into its negativity bias. Practicing the feeling of having love, practicing the feeling of being connected, being in love with whatever gets you on that spectrum can be so useful for keeping yourself out of the negative spiral. And something you have to teach your brain. Like your brain is like a little toddler. It's like, listen, I love thinking about negative things. I think negativity is going to keep you alive. So I'm just going to run around here looking for everything that's wrong in the world, looking for everything that's wrong in your life. And we're going to focus on that. That's the default position of your brain. What you want to do is say, all right, brain, I'm the mom here, and we're going to make some changes and really start to create a discipline where you teach your brain to focus on what's going right, to focus on where there is love, to focus on what you do love about your life, to focus on how your dating journey is working and how you do have positive things in your life right now. And as you do that, you will actually find that it gets easier and easier to create love. It gets easier and easier to go on an app. It gets easier and easier to talk to a person that you've just met. It gets easier to find creative ideas for your dating journey. It gets easier to create love in real life organically with people that you meet. It gets easier to build those relationships, and it gets easier and easier to um, create interactions that are fun and flirty and that lead to dates that you actually like with people that you actually want to be with. So, I want to encourage you to practice love. There is no point waiting until someone comes into your life until you have love. It is all around you, everywhere, and you can feel it and you can take it in and enjoy it today. Remember, enjoying it today makes it so much more likely that you're going to find it in the very near future. Now, if this skill is something you want to practice and you really want to dig into it, this is just the beginning. I want to invite you to schedule a call with me at shadecurry.com/schedule-appointment. The link is in the show notes, and we can talk about how we can take your dating life from just ordinary to extraordinary so that you can date effortlessly and get married again. All right. Thank you all for joining me today, and I will see you next time. Thanks for listening today. If you are ready to get married after divorce, I want to invite you to download my free 8-video training specifically designed to help divorced women date with ease and get married again. Head over to shadecurry.com to get started. That's SADECURRY.com. I'll see you inside.